888-539-2980. Give us a call. We're in the studio tonight with television director Paul Casey. And you just mentioned the word I think is very interesting, which is functioning. You hear that a lot. You know, you were a functioning alcoholic, you're a functioning drug addict. And now it's like how hard was it to function? You know, it's like we use that word and you hear people saying that all the time. Oh, I was functioning. But what exactly does that mean? You know, like were you were just going to your job, but how is the rest of your life going?
Oh, the rest of my life was a mess. You know, there were certain things that I had to that were important to me. You know, responsibilities that I fulfill, and I did, you know, to the best of my ability. I was, you know, single dad, and have 3 kids, and so
I met one of them, a great kid.
Yeah, and you know, so I kind of worked around. I worked around that. That was really, really important to me, my kids, and obviously my job, my livelihood, and you know, so how much effort you put into, you know, working around, you know, those responsibilities and those commitments. And
well, I think that's something that most people don't realize is that a lot of people that have a problem with addiction are actually incredibly functional. You know, they're, you know, even though, you know, they could be so much more healthy and so much more functional, but they can actually manage to stay functional for quite a while before they get help.
Yeah, and that was the case for me. But I'm telling you, you know, in the last couple of months before I did finally, you know,
crash and burn.
Things were. I was holding on by a thread. I really was. Yeah. And you know, my older kids saw it, and certainly, you know, the other people who were close to me saw it. One of the guys who I work with, who's in the program, you know, when I took him aside, and I knew that he was, and I took him aside when I went into treatment, and he said, "Well, we've been waiting for you," you know. So,
so they knew.
Yeah, but it's a huge effort. It's a huge effort, and I was so tired all the time. I was really, really tired. And
it is a lot of work getting high.
It's a lot of work, and especially, you know, when you know, it's like, okay, now I finally got the kids to bed, and I can, you know, get my relief, you know, and you know, you end up, it's just, you know, I was tired all the time, and sleeping whenever I could, and crashed all the time, burnt out. It was just, you know, man, it was just it was a horrible way to live when I look back on it, you know, but it was like, that's all I knew, you know. Yeah. It just got to this place where it's like, how the hell did I get here? I have no idea.
I hear so much, like, it's like, oh, you know, I'll just put the cocaine in the drawer, and I'll just do that one little line, that's it, I'll put it in the drawer, and then, you know, 2 seconds later, for some reason, you're doing another line, you don't even know how you're doing it. Yeah. You know, it just keeps going.
It's all
and the promises we make to, you know, I remember I used to constantly, every night I would go out and I would always leave my driver's license home and my money home, most of my money and my car keys, because I didn't, at the end of the night I was always in my car driving drunk, and I'm not laughing, it was very, you know, because I could have killed somebody, but everything I wanted to not do at the end of the night, I was doing it. I was always broke, probably lost my driver's license.
This is why you actually can't go to a bar in Brooklyn, is because he's got a tab at every bar in Brooklyn.
Yes, you know, I do come from the days where they did have tabs, and thank God most of those bars are shut down. And but you know, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about addiction. It doesn't, you know, to people that are listening out there, when addicts say things, they actually mean it. Like when an addict says to you, I never want to drink again, or I love you, or they really mean it, but it's once they start, they just can't. It's something happens, you know, that phenomenon of craving that we talk about, that they mean what they say. Yeah. You know, when an alcoholic says to his kid, I'm going to spend time with you tomorrow, but he drinks the night before and he never spends time with you, he really meant it when he said it.
Or wanted it.
And
had all the intention, but couldn't control their behavior.
Right. You know? And that's the bizarro, fascinating thing about addiction.
It's also sort of the tricky thing where you start off when you can drink and you can control it and you can show up, and then all of a sudden time passes and then all of a sudden you can't, and you as the addict don't realize that you've actually lost that much control, or you don't want to admit that you've lost that much control, and you think you can somehow get back to where you can control it again.
Pull the shirts on. And if anybody wants to see what the shirt looks like, go to KLEAN Radio